Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'll be showing us the photo editor app. First of all, you open your photo editor app and this is the interface. Now you can choose to select an image from your gallery, from any of your folders, or you can decide to create new. So when I come to new, I'll put in the parameters. I'll be using 1080 width and 1350 height in pixels. Alright, then density is 100 pixels per inch, and then I'm going to change the name to new project. Right, then you can select the color of the background. You can make it transparent, you can put white, you can put in black, you can go and pick a custom color, or you can choose gradient. Alright, so this is our canvas. Now there are so many tools here on photo editor and we'll explore them one after the other, but now because we want to design, I'm going to scroll to text/image. Alright, so this is our text/image. So the first thing at the top bar is this 4 squares. This is to help you zoom in whenever you zoom out. Alright, so to return it to the regular size, then you can go ahead to increase the zoom here up to 300. Alright, that is for this. Then you can see this square here again. You can change to 100, you can change to 300, or you could just go ahead and use the slider. Then you can impute the figures here. Alright, so just go on and pick what you want to work with, or you can enter something here. Alright, so that is it for this first row. Then the next one, we have this. It gives your text or your background a kind of outline. You can go ahead to adjust it here. Right, then we have this part. I don't know what this one does. Right, then we have the grid lines. You can go to setting and adjust it. 150, 120. Okay, you can change the color of the grid line. Let's say you're working with a white background, you can pick yellow, you could pick black, or anything of your choice. Alright, then apply, and we have our grid lines here. Now if you want to change the color of your canvas, you could pick one here. We have black, you could go for this ash. Is this ash or gray? I don't know, or white, or you could pick a custom color. Okay, it's just the 4 of them. Alright, so let's say I'm working on a white background, I would have to go for something darker so that I'll be able to see what I'm doing for better contrast. Alright, so particularly I love this ash. You can use it if you're working with a black background, you can use it if you're working with a white background. Alright, so for this one, this helps you to see your before and after. If I click on it, I don't have anything here. Let me just bring in something. Let's say I paste this design in. If I click on it, it will take me back to my original background or my imports, what I brought in. Alright, but when you remove your hand, it takes it back to the design you're working on already. Then this one, you click on it when you're done working, when you're done doing your edits and all. You can click on this. When you click on it, it will apply, it will merge everything, and once applied, you cannot edit individual objects. Would you like to apply? Then you apply and you have this. Alright, so after applying, you can just go ahead and save right here. You can save to gallery, you can share directly, you can save as, and pick your storage. Then you can move it to your clipboard. I have a previous video that showed us how all these things work, so you could go ahead and watch it, or I'll create a special tutorial for how to save your documents. Now let's go back to text and image. So that is it for the top bar. Then this one brings in the burger menu. So you can go to your settings and turn on all these things, because they'll help you with aligning and snapping your images for easier flow. But if let's say I remove any of these things, let's say this one, and I bring in a shape, you'll notice that this part is gone and this part as well is gone. So here is more like the control panel. Right, so now for the toolbar, we have this history here where you can import images you've worked on up to the 10th one. Now the default setting is 3, so you can now come here and increase it to 10. Right, but it says increasing the maximum number of backups can significantly increase your app storage usage. Alright, so when you're done editing your designs, you can now delete them here. Just minus any of them and to get deleted. Alright, so that is it. Let's say I was working on a project and I mistakenly clicked on, let's say I was working on this and I mistakenly clicked on the tick button without finishing what I was working on, I just need to come back here and then go to the history button and get it back. Alright, now we have your undo and redo button here. Then for the down row, we have the plus button, we have edit, we have delete, we have this burger menu, and we have layers. This is where all your layers will be. Alright, so let's explore them one after the other. The first one we'll be looking at is the plus. Okay, here you have your text, we have image, you have shapes, and we have emoji. Right, so I'm going to take them one after the other for easier understanding, and so that the length of the video will not be too much and too boring. So we'll take them one after the other. The first one we'll be looking at is text. Now this is what your text interface looks like. We have text, we have properties, we have effects, and we have etc. Now I'm going to enter a text. Right, now when you come here, you can decide to, this is for sentences. If you have a long paragraph, you can just decide to set it here so that it breaks after a couple number of text. Let me get something from my clipboard. So we have this. Now if you bring this in, this is what it would look like. This is what it's going to look like. So the two ways to do it is either you break it manually like this, just your enter button, your enter key. Alright, you have to do it for all of them, so that you have something like this. Okay, or you come to this place and then wrap it. You can decide to wrap it after 90 or let's say 100. Then you can choose to allow unbreakable words to be broken, or just go ahead and leave the box unticked, then apply. So when you apply, it's going to look like this. I think 100 is too much, so let's go back and change it to 70. Alright, so we have this. Okay, so you can go ahead and change the color to white. Alright, so this is where the text color is. This one is for the outline, and this is for background. We'll explore them one after the other. Let me finish with this. Alright, so that is it for this button. Then for here, you can decide to use all caps, you can decide to use small caps, or you can mix the two of them. Alright, so I'm just going to select this. Right, then this one is for symbols. You can go ahead and pick any symbol of your choice if you don't have them on your text on here. Your text button. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and select one symbol right here. Okay, so I feel these texts are too much. Let me just cut them and work with this. Okay, so we can just go ahead and add a symbol. Then here you'll find time and date. Right, the time and date, you can just go ahead and bring it in without having to type it. And then this last one holds all the text you've used for a while, not all of them totally, the ones you've used for a while. So you can just go ahead, let's say I was working on a design and the text is similar to what I'm working on. You can just come here and pick one, let's say Tuesday 30th June 2026. Alright, and then here are for your favorites. You can go ahead and delete all or edit. Okay, so I'm just going to cancel. Alright, and then bring in Hello Friday. Cool. Okay, so now for the colors, these buttons here are for gradients. If you want to switch from solid color to gradients, you just tap on any of the buttons and then pick the colors. Right, so I could just pick the color. Right, alright, so we'll have something like this. That is for gradients. Another way you can apply gradients is right here. Let's see, here is for the adjusting. You can adjust the gradients here. Here is for adjusting your gradients. You can move the slider to fix it how you want it to be. Then this one shows you the gradient style. You can change it to this, or you can just go ahead and stay here. Alright, then it's same as this slider right here. Okay, so that is it for gradients. If you're going for solid color, you can also apply solid color here on gradients. All you need to do is to pick a different color for the top and a different color for the bottom. So I'm just going to pick this lemon color and then a yellow color for the bottom part. Alright, so we have a gradient already. Then you can decide to make it the same color by clicking equal. When you click on equal, the color on the top button reflects on the bottom part. So let's say I mistakenly click the equal button and that is not what I want to do. I just need to go back here and pick the yellow color I used earlier. Alright, then here you can find different gradient styles. Alright, you can decide to go for any of them and use it for your design, whether it's solid color, those ones that are a bit blurry, that blended into each other. Then you can decide to go for this circle gradient. I don't use it often. I love the linear gradients. This circle one I use it mostly for shapes. Alright, so these are easy ways to access the value of the gradients if you don't want to slide. So you can just go ahead and pick what works for you and apply. Alright, so we have this. So that is it for text color. Same happens for outline. Let's say I added an outline here. You can see the outline is showing. Okay, so I'm just going to maybe change it to white outline, and then apply. Alright, this is ugly. Okay, so I'm just going to remove the outline. Now this is for your background. Let's say I want to add background to the text. I'll just pick a color. Right now you're not seeing any color because the opacity is reduced to 0. So I'm going to slide the opacity to 100 and then to 255, sorry, and then pick the background. Since I'm using a light text, I'm just going to go for a darker background for contrast, right? Okay, so here you can set favorites, right? You can make it your favorites, and then let's go back, cancel. Then here you can decide to impute the name of the color instead of just sliding. If you know the name already, you can just go ahead and impute it here. And then for this one is your picker tool. Let's say I have the color on the background already. I'll just take this tool, go to my background and search for it, and then select it. Alright, this is also available on the text and the outline, so take note of that. So I'm just going to come back here and click on OK. Then this one is not showing because it's transparent as well, so I'm just going to go ahead and select equal, and then there's no need coming here because it's not a gradient. Right, so I'm just going to apply, and now we have our background on our text. Alright, so let's remove the background. Then we have these 3 buttons here. This one is for presets. Let's say you save the presets, you can access them here. Alright, so this one is to save a preset. Alright, cancel. Then this one is to update presets. So this is a preset I saved earlier, and the why I saved it was because of the spacing in between the letters. Alright, so I'm just going to go on and put my Hello Friday, and if you notice the fonts changed as well. The fonts I saved the presets as was lactose semi bold, so it's applied automatically. So I'm just going to, and the color as well, the color applied, the outline, the background, everything I used for that preset applied on the text preview. So I'm just going to go ahead and do my adjustments, maybe pick my colors and select the background if I want to, and then bring it in. Right, so this makes workflow easier. Let's say you worked on something and you really liked the way the text came in. You like the fonts, the color, even if not the color. Let's say the fonts, the spacing, just like this one. I use this mostly for tiny text on my birthday flyers and other regular flyers I create. So you could just go ahead and apply it. Alright, so let's go back. That is it for this this first window. So move to the next one, which is properties. Now under properties we have opacity. We know what opacity is, so you can go ahead and reduce the opacity or increase it. Now if you click on it, it will bring in these buttons, so you just go ahead and adjust it slowly instead of sliding, because sliding might be too much. This one is for close, or will I say tiny adjustments. Alright, so next one is outline. Let's say I want to add an outline to my text. You can just go ahead and select, slide all the way, or just select what you want, or you can go ahead and adjust from here. Now you can also change the style of the outline, either making it rounded corner, sharp ended, or this one that is slightly bent. Alright, now this one is for the letter spacing. The default is 0, but it's at max because of the text prefix I selected here, the text presets I selected here. Alright, so you can just go ahead and do your adjustments, reduce the tracking on the text or increase it. Now the next one is line spacing. Let's say I have a sentence here, have a beautiful day. I can just go ahead and, so this is what it looks like. Let's adjust the line spacing, and we have this. Right, let's reduce it, and we have this. So take note of that. The default is 100. Alright, then this is your padding for X and Y coordinates. Then this is where your font lies. Alright, so you can go ahead and use the plus or minus button, or you can just click on the center space. This will bring you into where your fonts are. All your fonts here are system fonts. These ones came with the app. Then here are your custom fonts, the ones that you import into your photo editor app, and these are your favorites, the one you start. So to make anything favorite, you just need to start it and it will appear here. All right, so I'm just going to show us how to bring in our text, how to import our text to photo editor app. So you can just go ahead to this A plus. All right, let's say I downloaded African Paradise, this TTF. You just click on it and it comes in. You close. All right, so this is the font right here. Okay, so just take note of that. So you can go ahead to select fonts here. Then these ones are to delete fonts you no longer want to use. When you go there, just tick on the fonts you want to delete and then you delete. All right, then here are your settings. Cancel. Okay, so you can go ahead and search if you know the name of the font you're looking for already. I love Lato font a lot, so I can just go ahead and select it and we have it right here. Okay, now the next place is this bar, your text style. You can, let's say I'm using a Lato regular, you can make it bold, you can change to italic, you can click the alignment left, center, right. Now this is majorly for let's say I increased my X and Y, right? So this, selecting this would kind of adjust the way the text would appear, right? So you can just choose anyone. Now we have this place. This is vertical writing. Let me remove this line. So we have vertical writing. So you can see what it looks like. So instead of coming to your text box to do H A L L O, so you can just go ahead and do this. Change it to vertical writing. Then we have this. Okay. So here is your presets as well. Here is to save a preset, and these are to update a preset. All right, let's say you have a preset already and you have some adjustments to do to them. This is where you do it, then you apply if you're done editing. So this is it for the properties window. Let's head over to effect. Now this is where you see your gradients, blur, shadow, inner shadow, blend mode, wrap, and perspective. So I'm just going to go ahead and change this font to black. Okay, and then reduce the size to 0. Now let's head over to effect. Gradients, we are not using any gradients, but let's say we are. You can see text, outline, background. If you did not do it here, you can do it here. All right, then we have blur. Now if you want to reset, just click on X and it resets to 0, 0, 0. All right, now it was at 179 degree, 0 degree, 0 degree, because our outline and background is on 0 while text is selected. All right, let's say I select outline only, then the middle section will not be 0 anymore, and if it's background, all right, so that is just how to note the values. Then we have blur, same for text, outline, background. Let's say I blur my text. All right, this is what it looks like on the background. You can just go ahead and adjust it, and I love using it for my birthday flyers, not all, once in a while. Okay, so that is it for blur. Remember to reset, just click on X. Now we have shadow. Okay, so shadow, we have distance, angle, blur, and here is for your color. So I'm just going to select a distance, say 10, then adjust the angle to 70, then adjust the angle to 300. Now blur. Okay, so here we can pick colors, pick a color. You can go ahead to reduce the opacity or increase it as you like. All right, so apply. You can see the shadow on our text already. Okay, so that is it for shadow. Then we have inner shadow, same thing. So this is to create a kind of 3D effect on our text. All right, just go ahead and adjust till you get what you're looking for to make your text appear 3D kind of, right? You can see it here. So I'm going to apply, and we have this. It's not very visible because of the background we're using, right? So I'm just going to go back, reset. Now if you notice, we have more figures here than this one. Okay, so the first 0 is for distance, the 300 is for angle, the next one is for blur. All right, then this hashtag 000 is for your color, and 191 is the opacity of the color. All right, let's say I adjust it to 255. You can see it's right there, 255. All right, same applies to inner shadow. Now we have blend mode. This one we're going to explore it later on its own separately. And then we have warp. Now warp, you can go ahead to do some funny things to your text, right? You can increase the number of buttons. Just adjust it to, let's take it back to 3. Okay, so this is curve. You can change it to this is tilt. You can change it to warp or vertical. Okay, So this is it for curve. Then you can go ahead to select a shape right here and then do your thing. You can see this half heart. You can change the spacing. Okay, you can do a kind of offset. So apply. So this is our warp. Alright, so I'm just going to reset. You can reset here. You can save the presets. I'm going to save it because it's pretty. So I'm just going to say half heart. Save as half heart. Add. Okay, then I'm going to reset. You can choose any shape from here. Alright, so that is it for warp. Then we have perspective. Now perspective is another study of its own. I did a video on how to skew on photo editor app. So I'm just going to do this and apply. Then reduce the size. Okay, so we have this. Hello Friday. So that is it for perspective. Then we have A to C. Here is aspect ratio. If you turn it off, when you adjust your text, it will blow out of proportion. So I'm just going to leave it on. Then you can adjust the size and angle from here. Let's say I want to rotate it by 90 degrees. I'll just choose 90. You can increase the text size or reduce it as you wish. Alright, so this is the angle 90 and then the text size. So I'm just going to undo. Alright, so we have this. Now that is it for our text. Right, so I'm just going to apply. We have Hello Friday. Now I'm going to select this and we'll look at this burger menu. Now when it comes to this burger menu, you see almost everything we've seen here. Alright, so I'm just going to open blend mode, perspective, move a size if you want to use arrows to move. Alright, and here is for size if you want to adjust the x and y coordinates. You can also change the width and height here. Alright, then we have angle if you want to rotate. You can go ahead and add from here or just slide or click this, anyone. This one adds by minus 0.1, while this one acts by 1.0. Okay, so you can look at the values here and fix it till you're satisfied with what you're seeing. Alright, so that's it for angle. We have color, just like we explored. We have text. Under color, we have text, we have outline, we have background, we have your gradients here, the colors for the top and bottom, the equal button, and the gradient styles right here. Alright, so we have fonts. If you want to choose a different font, you can see the minus and the plus button. You can see the center button that has all the fonts. You can see the font styles here, the bold, the italic, the left and right, and center alignment. Alright, then we have the outline. If you want to increase the outline and the outline styles, just like we've seen on the edits, you can see the blur. Alright, so I'm just going to blur. Okay, you can decide to blur the outline or the background. Right, so just walk so you're seeing what you like. Next thing is shadow. You can add your shadow from here. Let's remove the blur so we'll see what you're working on. Alright, so shadow, increase the distance, change the angle. You can blur, you can adjust the color. Okay, alright, so this is it for shadow. The next one is flip. If you want to flip it horizontally and vertically, we have inner shadow, we have warp. We've looked at warp. We have background. Then the line spacing. Here you see your letter spacing and your line spacing. Right, so this is like a quick access button if you do not want to go to your edit button. I use this bar mostly when I'm designing instead of this one. Okay, then we have gradients. You can adjust the gradients here, right, for outline, background, or text. Then we have opacity if you want to reduce the opacity or increase it. Then we have lock ratio to keep the aspect ratio so that it does not distort. Okay, you can see if it's turned off, it distorts. Then we have mask. This mask is something I've not really learned how to use. Okay, so I'm just going to skip it, and then the last one is duplicate. If you want to copy, just go ahead and duplicate it. So this is all on our text button. When we come back, we'll look at the image and the rest of the tools on Photo Editor. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so that the YouTube algorithm would send this video to other beginners who want to learn how to use the Photo Editor app. Thank you. See you in the next one.